Welcome everyone to a special edition of We're Not Afraid of the Dark. This is particularly interesting because we have 4 people who are going to be in this episode. Let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. My name is Adam Dutch. I started this podcast with my brother.
I mean, did you have to pitch it so long? I was about to come in right behind you. I'm Ben. But then you're like, producer.
Yeah, co-producer, right? Then we have my girlfriend over here. I have a podcast for her called K&A TV Day.
Hi, I'm Kayla.
And then we have another guest who has been on the show before.
I'm Ashley.
And that's Ben's fiance. This will sound a little bit different because I'm on a different mic. We have 2 handheld mics in the studio, and then the 2 studio mics that Ben and I usually use. And we all been drinking, so there might be some moving around here. Hey, I can't wait for this board game. We've been talking this up, right?
I hope it goes quick.
Well, here we are at the tail of Locker 22. I remember this episode growing up. What about you, Ben?
Yeah, once it got started, I remembered parts.
Oh, Ashley, you watched the show like me when growing up. You remember it?
Yes, but I did not.
Kayla, did you ever see an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Not the old ones.
just new version?
Yeah, just the new ones.
Go.
Okay.
You can help me and Ben when we get to that portion because I don't remember seeing any of those.
So from 2000 on, you saw?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
1999. Remember, we had to do our academic research before the hand.
That's why you're here.
Just a warning, this episode may contain a little more subjective material. Since Kayla is having her first time guest starring on We're Not Afraid of the Dark, you mentioned that you watched the revamp kind of deal of Are You Afraid of the Dark that came about in 1999, but you'd never seen the original 5-season run, right?
No.
Okay, great. I think we may do a cross-promotion with this in our podcast. In the podcast I do with my girlfriend, we are showing each other shows that the other has never seen before. I'll probably look in the show notes to that.
You know what I think you guys need to do? Is watch an episode of Stranger Things, seeing as you guys, neither of you have watched it. Me and Ashley just finished it last night. We started the second season last night, fucking finished it that same night. And that's like 9 hours.
Yeah, I can't believe you did that one sitting. You're talking about binge watching.
So, yeah, I would suggest, maybe you guys both watch one that neither of you have watched before.
I really want to watch it.
It's great. I'm telling you right now, it's awesome.
The episode jumps right into the Midnight Society, just telling random stories. Like Frank says, they're going to come as an axe murderer. David mentions a mummy. Betty Ann says a razor sharp hand. Kiki, a zombie with sunken eyes. They're talking about what Kristen is going to come dressed as, because Kristen always needs to come dressed up for a story she tells.
Late as shit.
She's always showing up. But, it's not like there's a dressing room or a bathroom right by there. I mean, we established the fact these kids are pissing in the woods or taking a shit somewhere.
It's funny you say that because, like, the Dream Machine one, when Kiki, they're like, well, why were you late? I was hoping she would, be like, I was taking a shit.
I mean, a teenage girl's not going to say something like that.
That's true. She was.
Yeah, Kristen does surprise us by coming there dressed as... What'd you think of this costume, Ashley?
It was interesting. I was a little surprised. Like, I guess in the 90s that they were doing the whole midriff. I guess it's maybe a little more normal, but it didn't seem as accurate as they were making it out to be, I guess.
Kayla, you being a Fashion 4 female, what'd you think as well?
I thought it was cute.
It's Canada. It's like freezing up there. How... you know what? Never mind.
Yeah, we can't do this Canadian stereotypes. I'm about to get a bunch of hate mail and one-star reviews from our Canadian viewers. Yeah, she's comes dressed as some hippie outfit. Yeah, she's showing the midriff, as Ashley mentioned. She has a bandana on?
Yeah, it was like a scarf tied around her head like a bandana.
Yeah, hoop earrings, all that kind of deal.
And the love beads.
She is trying to resemble a hippie from the late 60s. Now, I couldn't do too much research into the phenomenon of that culture at the time. However, I do know San Francisco in the mid to late 60s was very big for hippies. So I guess I just went to Canada. She says she found this costume in the attics. So apparently her parents were hippies. I'm assuming it was her mom's clothes.
Yeah.
I would add, she'd have more problems
if
if it was the dad's clothes.
It was a special time.
Yeah. Well, we had the cross-dressing scene with the Hungry Hounds episode where she puts on her grandfather's like jacket and stuff. But Ashley, what was your fashion sense like in high school?
I don't even know if you could call it fashion sense.
Kayla, what about you?
Let's see. Emo phase, preppy phase.
Just covering all bases, right?
Yeah, about emo and preppy.
I think Ben's fashion kind of changed, right?
Yeah.
Had it started like early high school as compared to late high school.
Well, when beginning of high school, everything matches with black.
The hot topic
that was
discovery,
my
right?
whole high
So it
school.
was black everything, and then got in a fight. Just started wearing jeans with a black shirt, and all of a sudden, I was becoming popular. It was the craziest thing. Mentality, personality, nothing fucking changed, and yet all of a sudden, oh, he's okay now. He's not just some fucking dude with a black pants on and black shirt on.
Although you do still rock that black leather jacket that I had when I was like 17, right?
It's around here somewhere.
Yeah,
It's right behind you, darling.
No,
Oh, wait, no, that's not the one.
That's a different one. Yeah, I got that in like 2000, 2001. I was a musician and heavy back in that scene back then, so my fashion was all jeans and black band t-shirts or khakis and black band t-shirts.
What's changed?
Nothing.
I wear more button downs.
Doesn't wear khakis anymore.
Yeah, and I used to wear those ugly ass like big Skechers shoes. I still have them somewhere around here. Once it's like 18, 19, but now I'm on all Vans. And me and Ben had an interesting discussion about men's fashion. A few previous episodes we recorded about this.
I remember having the platform Skechers shoes that were like the women's like heel type.
Oh yeah, you're rocking these Chucks, the low heel ones today. We had a conversation earlier. The Converse sponsor some Nickelodeon shoes because we knew Hush Puppies did on some Nickelodeon game shows back in the day. Me and Ben went through a whole shoe wardrobe earlier. Right, Ben?
Yep. You have 25 and I have 5.
You sound like me.
We're simple. We're simple people.
David puts on glasses. Kiki gets a little peace sign. Yeah, in the early 90s, like some of this heavy fashion did come back. She says you don't learn from the past, you'll be doomed to repeat it. She says her story is a little different and that her tale is that if you don't learn from the present, you'll repeat the past and meet your doom.
Guess what? It's the same fucking thing. That's why I was laughing when I watched it. If you don't learn from your past, you're doomed to repeat it. If you don't learn from the present, you're doomed to repeat the past. It's the same goddamn thing. It's the same fucking thing. That's why I was laughing so much.
What do you expect from a teenage girl in the woods?
We're taking to a shot here in science class. And the directions here, I was trying to figure out what kind of experiment they're doing.
I'm not sure, but I'm betting that it wouldn't fly nowadays, considering he had the kids sucking up whatever into those straws.
Kayla, we watched E.T. That was it, where they're dissecting the frogs and shit. No, I'm like, they're not going to do this.
No dissection, no.
Stay on the mic. I'm an audio engineer.
You know what's crazy? When I was at Woodson, I think it was like 6th grade. The science teacher was cleaning out like the closet that hadn't been touched in like 10 years. Like it'd been a long time. And they found it was like a vacuum sealed like biohazard like box. And it had a human like chest in it, like lungs.
I just remember they told us not to drink, like when we did the ice cream experiment, not to drink out of the beakers because they had those dangerous chemicals inside of them.
Yeah, but here's my thing. Someone donated their body to science and
ended up in the
it
closet.
ended up in the closet for 10 years. And like, what the fuck?
Well, I was at a college science class and there was a cadaver in another room. And the professor made a comment that she was glad we were mature and still didn't rush in there. I guess before she had a bunch of college kids who wanted to see a dead body that was donated to a university.
It's not that glamorous.
No.
Yeah. Any thoughts on this science scene, Kayla?
Yeah. We're all friends here.
I thought the teacher was really mean.
Which teacher?
The science teacher.
The first one.
You haven't seen shit compared to these other episodes. me and Ben just watched while a teacher is eating donuts and other pastries throughout the whole class, and is grading papers while taking a shit.
Yeah.
Has papers go over there,
And
his
she's
pastries
eating
on the floor.
donuts while
Yeah.
she does it. Hey,
Oh,
babe,
God.
what oh fuck, what was Matilda's PE teacher's name?
Miss Trench. Wait, no, that was the
No,
main.
I think you were right.
Miss Trenchbull?
Yeah,
She was the headmistress of the school.
she was fat, right?
She
was
was something
like-
else.
You know,
It was Miss Trunchbull,
But all these 90s shows needs either a fat kid or a fat teacher at
or
some
both.
point.
It's true. That was before everybody was offended.
Those are the good old days, right?
Everybody's
Yes.
so goddamn sensitive now.
Well, they probably won't be listening to this podcast then, because we've already talked about child abduction, alcohol, meth labs. What else?
It's all in good fun.
Yeah, drug
Yeah.
situations, a lot of profanity.
I'm sure there's been some
Ben
sexual
was
innuendo.
drunk about through all of this first season.
Was.
Oh, by the way, yeah.
Yes.
Well,
By the way, let me get that.
speaking of which, we're recording this in November of 2017. This episode will air later. We just want to get ahead of ourselves. Ben listened back to the Super Specs episode we posted and didn't remember half the fucking shit he said.
That's good times right there. And apparently, Adam told me that in the Pinball Wizard, which hasn't at this time been released yet, that I am even drunker in that than Super Specs, and I can't wait.
Not you.
I listened to that one completely unedited.
And what was your experience with that?
It was like I was literally like by myself, like laughing out loud.
You should send me the unedited ones. I'll listen to them on my way to work and stuff.
I usually when I edit, I just cut out like if we make mistakes, then I have to go back and start censoring it or some dead air space. And most of the content's still there. I did have to edit a few things because of subjective material, believe it or not, in the Leprechaun episode.
So, on whose part?
Yours.
Oh shit!
You knew.
Hey, but for our listeners out there, be sure to give us a 5-star review. We'll let listen to our podcast.
No pressure.
Oh yeah.
So, where are we at with this right now? Science teacher's a dick.
Yeah,
Because
she breaks
They
the
give a little
she breaks the
insight to
beaker
that.
and experiences those boys for the first time.
Yeah, and he says, "Don't do that. Yeah, don't break shit."
Yeah.
As a,
I feel like he said something about like next time it'll be acid. Next time it'll be acid.
Yeah, let's want to deal with that. Then our main character here is Jolie. And of course we tried to do our background research. Ben, I have great news for you.
oh boy, I can't wait.
You'll love this
I know
one.
it's coming.
Yeah. Her name is Karen Elkin. She's playing a French girl who just came to America. She says her parents are their own business. I'm assuming she's French Canadian.
Okay, which
was a
movie did
French
she take her
accent?
top off?
I
in?
don't know. I didn't find the movie. Oh, actually, it's a few of them. She is on Mr. Skid. I'll probably link in the show there. She
I
just
knew it.
and she's listed as great nudity. She's a red-haired girl. They say she has great natural tits.
See,
Everybody loves redheads.
everybody has to start on Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah, we didn't do it for the last few episodes we recorded, though, which was the 13th Floor and the Dream Machine.
Oh, hey, babe. By the way,
Yes.
the guy on the 13th Floor episode, one of the main dudes, what was his name? Zoltar.
Zoltar
The
was
13th Floor? That was Billy Karen. And then we had Raymond, Olga.
I'm talking about the dude that was in the elevator all the
Baby,
time.
you didn't ask. I didn't watch that one with you.
I know, but it's Sam from Van Helsing.
Oh. Okay.
Are you talking about the guy who played Mr. Mitchell and the Gus guy in the
Yes.
elevator? Okay.
Yes.
Hey, apparently he's still going strong. So if you're listening right now, Modulation Studios at gmail.com. I would love to do an interview with you.
Gotta plug yourself.
Yeah.
Shameless plug.
Joy is taken down to her locker, and the admin there is the assistant vice principal. He says the area hasn't been used well. It's like store shits all over the place. There's heavy amounts of graffiti all over this high school.
I'm glad you said that
There
shit because
were. And it's funny because in the 60s it was clear. Like when they were showing the flashbacks, everything was clean.
Yeah, it was different days back then.
Can
By
I
the
just
time
say,
they got her there, it was.
Adam, we went to public school.
Yep.
All the rest of everybody in this room, I think,
Yeah.
went to public school.
In one of the poorest counties in
Multiple-
Maryland,
in multiple
Somerset County.
states.
So that would not pass
No.
That would not pass at all. Like the graffiti that is throughout the entire.
Well,
Do
what
it-
I
do-
found weird about it is that like the girl had put the flower on the locker and everything, and that got cleaned off.
That's clean as
But-
locker there.
But the rest of the school was covered in graffiti and spray paint.
I saw like one graffiti thing that says "Say no to drugs,"
Yes.
because that was back in Reagan's. Even though Reagan was out of office, that was still part of his "Say no to drugs" campaign. We saw stick figures on some lockers, which I'm assuming was upstairs or in a different hallway. But what was some other graffiti you noticed?
I feel like I saw a heart and an arrow somewhere.
Yeah.
Pink.
Then there was like, the artist's like lettering. I really don't know what it's called, but
Tagging.
Yes.
there you go. See?
Maybe there's some gangs in this high school we don't know about. Although one movie I thought about, I don't know if anybody else in this room has seen it, but High School High with John Lovitz came out like 95, 96. You remember that actually?
We were
I'm
just
pretty sure
talking
I've
about
seen
him.
that, yes.
Yeah, I remember that because that was a parody of all those, especially a parody of that principal movie where the undercover cop goes as the principal and tries to find the drug campaign happening in the high school.
Speaking of parodies, can we notice how the kid in the flannel shirt that's picking on her in the school is so similar to Robert Downey Jr.'s character in Breakfast Club?
I didn't pick up on that, but I'm glad you mentioned that
Here you go,
character.
babe. It's because I love you.
It was glaring. Oh,
I got more moonshine over there. The other guy playing the blonde hair part has a very, very like late 80s, early 90s haircut, I thought.
and he also, like in a couple shots, looked like a young Patrick Swayze.
That's in your fantasy, actually.
No,
Oh,
he
that'd
wasn't
be
really
you.
my thing. More of a Robert Downey Jr. girl.
That blonde dude did look like, like some kind of Dawson's Creek
Mhm.
fucker.
What was that guy named Kayla who was on Dawson's Creek?
That was,
James Vanderbeek.
yeah.
I'm glad
Yes.
I remember this. Kayla, what's your notes for
Joshua
this scene?
Jackson.
What?
If there's in your notes, you gotta speak up.
She was at the locker and the hippie was staring at her.
Oh yeah, that comes up here.
Yeah.
That's why I don't take notes.
Yeah, she took a while to take that lock off the locker. Oh, she needed help, by the way, Ben, from that girl in The Tale of Nightly Neighbors who's used to the cracking skull locks.
No, she needed the fucking opposite because she doesn't lock her lock. You never see her unlock it. It's already unlatched.
I'm
It
going to
seems to be like
assume
that in a lot of
Joy
old
is the
shows
first
and
girl
movies.
who's had this since Candy did in the 60s. So it's this episode came out in Canada 1991, 1992. We're going to put that
So it's been
at this scene.
20, 30 years.
Yeah, a little bit less, maybe 25, maybe. 20 years would have been 1971.
Yeah.
Well, the old teacher said that was like 30 years ago.
Dun dun dun.
So,
Yeah, she sees the girl who is back in time as a ghost. What's this outfit, by the way? Because I thought she was Indian. Oh, I'm sorry, Native American.
She looked hippie.
Happy? All right.
I thought the whole show's version of like hippie was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to get that in a moment here. She looks
Like a
back and
Halloween
she's
store
gone.
threw up.
Now, this is a great scene here. In the cafeteria, Joy sits by herself and then is joined by the stock bully characters from the 80s. Now, Ben said a good line. By the way, I just watched this episode a few nights ago. I showed it to my girlfriend last night. Ben actually just got forced to watch it a few minutes ago. And Ben or Ashley, I think it was Ashley who made a good point about these bullies in this cafeteria scene.
I'm not sure.
So somebody said it should be the fat kid.
should be the fact.
I didn't say that.
I didn't say it
They're
either.
bullying
Wasn't.
her. This is an attractive young female from France, and they're bullying her. Why?
Oh, right.
Yeah, I understand the new kid thing,
It's in
but
Canada.
I mean, what
They
is
should have been like
what
trying
is-
to kiss her ass.
Yeah, these horny teenage guys should be all over that.
Don't worry.
It's true.
Don't worry. That's
it
coming.
might have been the fact that she looked 30, though.
I thought, yeah, the 20s, but 30s.
Don't worry, Adam. That's coming.
And we have older teens here again. These teens look like they're about like 16, 17, junior, seniors, not like the 10, the 14-year-olds we've seen previously in Are You Afraid of the Dark? Were you throwing your notes away, Kayla? So, Kayla,
She's already
To hell
transferred
with
it over.
those. Oh,
Actually trying to destroy my office right here.
hey,
Stay
I
off
mean,
my
it did
IKEA
slide.
lamp there.
It
Okay.
did slide on its own earlier.
This is the IKEA section of Modulation Studios office. We got the IKEA sofa here that Kayla maybe buy, the IKEA lamp But over there we have the $1,000 Herman Miller chairs and the $3,000 iMac. It just gets better when you go to that
Are we
side.
reaching for like advertising here?
I need my sponsors. Again, if you work for IKEA, Herman Miller, Apple. Well, what kind of wine is that over there? You guys are...
Carmenet.
If you work for that wine company, we need sponsors. ModulationStudios@gmail.com.
Everclear, if you're listening, I need you.
I did like the scene band because a food fight breaks out, which you mentioned earlier.
What was that?
We got a food fight that broke out.
We already talked about the food fight.
Oh, that's
No.
nice.
That was in a different episode.
Yeah, I know.
That was an Ernest Get Stupid, of course. We said we love the food fight scene and Problem Child 2. We missed the days of food fights.
I'm genuinely disappointed that nowhere throughout my life did I ever get to see that, because it seemed pretty commonplace growing up watching TV.
Yeah, Ben and I talked about ones that broke out at Crestwood High School. It always got
I never
broken
had that.
up. It always got broken up within 2 people from the admin, or kids would steal milk cartons and put them in lockers.
Right, and then you've got 1 or 2 kids in trouble.
Yeah.
I want the full on.
Yeah, well, we have a
walls are
Delaware girl here
plastered.
who went to Cape Henlopen.
No food fights.
At
The
all?
most exciting
Never.
thing at lunch ever was my friend Spencer got on top of the table and sang "My Girl."
Jesus, we had someone die during lunch.
Way to go dark, baby.
That's pretty hardcore. I haven't heard this story.
Well,
What happened
actually, hold on. Spencer,
Couldn't
Is
sing
now-
and somebody did die.
deceased. His
Oh.
parents, his dad killed him.
Oh,
Oh shit!
Yeah,
That's
so that's
hardcore.
the kind of shit that happened at Cape.
Hey,
But I know
rest in
food fights.
peace,
Ben,
Spencer.
who died at lunch there?
I want to keep his name out of it, but he had a heart issue.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
And-
I know what you're talking about now. I remember that years ago.
Yeah. He had a heart issue during lunch, and they just couldn't save him. So
I give it to the admin working that day. I mean, it's not something they want to experience at work.
not at all.
And a shame for the parents and everything.
right.
So Crestfield had food fights.
Yeah, yeah.
The ones that I saw were always someone throwing a French fry, a dry product at someone, and just drop on it, but then they throw something else. But it was never full on.
Don't
Child
count
2 style,
unless
where it
it's
was
mashed potatoes.
well, we just reviewed Ernest Go Stupid.
we
And,
had spaghetti.
yeah. Well, in Ernest Go Stupid, Ben and I talked when we were 10 years old. We would save our money and try the 4 of us to find $3 to buy a pizza. But these kids are just throwing out whole pizzas, 5, 6 at a time at these bullies. How do these kids get this money? Or they had a deal at Little Caesars or something. But at least we didn't have to use the starving children in China, because Ernest in that movie does say something about milk and kids in China. Now, the actor playing this assistant vice principal is really overreacting in this scene, I thought.
In most scenes that he was in, it seemed like.
Yeah, and it's established that he's been at the school for decades. The seasoned people I knew working in schools will be a little more calmer in those situations after dealing with children, especially asshole bullies and stuff like that for years on end.
And the death of a student.
Oh, yeah. He looks at Julia and calls her the troublemaker. And he clenches his fist. Did you catch up on that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why? Is this guy violent, or is he want to
There
knock
was
her out?
that,
or-
and I'm pretty sure he also made a comment about crossing him. It sounded very threatening.
Yeah, crossing
It would
paths.
have never happened in schools nowadays.
Yeah. Well, I did look this guy up. He does have a lot of acting credits. I didn't catch him in Assassin's Creed, though.
Oh shit! So that was gonna be my question.
By the way,
Yeah.
Kayla, that's our going trend here. We found out a lot of people on Are You Afraid of the Dark have voice acted in the Assassin's Creed video game franchise, and we're trying to get to the bottom of it because I can't find any information online. Again, Richard Dumont, who plays Sardo, if you're listening, we want to talk to you. If you don't contact us, I'm going to contact you here shortly. Julia later tells Chris, who's our token black guy in this episode, it seems. You seen her black people in this episode?
He acted very, I guess, stereotypically.
See,
would be the
I'm
word.
glad
It
that
was
I didn't say it,
pretty-
but I was thinking it.
Go ahead.
I kind of felt like I was watching the 90s R&B style. You know what I mean. You were there.
Yeah, where he has to be all tough and be dominant and stuff.
The tough and then the smooth.
Although it's not like a late 90s, early 2000s R&B video where you see some black guy with like a six-pack just sweating all over
And like licking their lips and shit, yeah.
Do you know what he reminded me of?
Chris Brown?
No.
D'Angelo?
No.
Usher?
Nope.
The guys from Joe Hill?
Oh, God.
I'm showing a picture right now.
Gerald
Yes,
Martin
he did. It was
from
Gerald.
Hey Arnold.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned this because I actually never watched this show, but Ashley apparently didn't. I'm sure Kayla did as well, right?
I freaking love Hey
He
Arnold.
was Gerald.
In other news, Ashley and Kayla are going to start a Hey Arnold podcast. I haven't heard that yet.
I don't know.
Hey, this podcast is getting big. And my goal is to have We're Not Afraid of the Dark, the best We're Not Afraid of the Dark podcast out there.
Christ, we didn't talk about that.
So are we, like, taking over?
We're the only ones so far that have mentioned the child abduction, rape scenes, people being molested, drugs, apparently race relations now.
Your move, Other Afraid of the Dark podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of the whole rape thing, when we were watching
You know it's a We're Not Afraid of the Dark podcast what Beth says, speaking of the other rape thing.
Yes. Ashley, my love,
Yes.
she said, "Oh, well, this looks like Rape Alley." When they walked to that back part where the locker was.
Oh, yeah, the locker
He was
store
so
dilapidated.
upset that she was questioning it, but how could she not?
Oh man.
Again, we're not trying to offend anybody, but these are just things that come to mind in this sick circle.
We're not normal.
Yeah, she tells Chris that she saw a ghost, but the response here is brief, and then she walks away. Back at Julie's home, she aimlessly stares out the window, and then the phone rings. Now, the music, again here, I thought I heard in another episode of the series. Did you go on that, Ben?
I didn't catch that.
Okay, yeah, I was in another episode. I just can't remember when. We talked about cicada music. Again, I think there were 2 or 3 composers for this show.
Hold the phone.
What?
Speaking of the phone, if she's brand new to the school,
Have they got a number?
hey, there it is. Plot hole.
Well, she goes on to this because she gets a prank call. No shameless plug. Kayla and I love listening to the Snowplow Show of Cactus. And I'll be sure
What the fuck are you guys talking
this.
about?
Oh my god, the prank call show? It's a podcast?
Hey, motherfucker, you were listening to that Arnold prank calls that we have listened to since like 2000, 2001 the other day with the soundboard.
I just looked at the soundboard, but now it makes me want to hear Arnold's Pizza Shop.
That's what he calls the YMCA. Or
It tells him he's got pepperonis and bullets, and that's the only toppings you can have.
Yeah. I like the Judge Judy Dr. Phil as well, especially when the Dr. Phil says, I want you to start living as a gay woman. That's a good one. Now, the prank call is coming from one of the bullies. So not only did Chris tell the bullies about the ghost story, but Chris also gave them Julie's number.
Okay, look. I don't doubt his game. I don't doubt it. But I don't think he pulled a number the first day.
Well, I mean, everybody else is trying to bully her.
That's true. She might have been vulnerable.
He's got those.
She just moved there. Does she
No.
even know her phone number?
Yeah.
He's got those
It
pouty
takes me
lips.
months after moving to a new address to even get that solidified.
Now, I know Ben and I, we stayed in the same area while growing up, but did any of you two transfer to a new school, like in high school?
I went to 4 high schools.
Oh, excellent. So how did you feel as the new kid?
Oh, mostly uncomfortable.
I remember vividly, there was this one new girl at Crystal High School, and some girl, she went up to some lunch table, just sat down, and the bitches there were like, I don't fucking know you. I was like, it's just no. What do you expect? Who does she
Right.
know?
No, it's
I always felt bad
I
for
usually
them.
ended up falling in with a couple okay people, but it was always very uncomfortable.
Mhm.
And
Good Lord.
the assholes are definitely a very real
Yeah,
thing.
of course, high school kids are exactly socializing and know the power of networking. Another thing, I remember that social commercial a while ago. They had that song "Beautiful" by Christina Aguilera. Remember that one with a girl spelling boy and our friend sits down.
Yeah.
You are beautiful.
Okay, I was gonna sing along
I
and
just
do the music
referenced it
cues.
the other day too, but Ben didn't catch it.
The next day, she confronts Chris about the fact that he promised not to tell anybody, but he did. And she says he is worse than the jerks there at the cafeteria because he pretends to be nice. However, he tells her that he had to tell her for a reason. You know what that reason is?
Because he knows a guy that knows a guy.
That knows a guy.
That's always
Which still doesn't explain how those assholes ended up calling her house.
Yeah, well, apparently this ghost story has been passed down during the years. However, that would mean, well, Joey is the one
and
who
then
sees
he
the
talked to the
ghost.
guy after school.
Yeah, well, Joey's the one who sees the ghost, and no one else talks about it. So does someone else have that locker before her? I mean, the tale is the tale of Locker 22, and that's the plot point.
I'm pretty sure they said that she was the first one.
Yeah, he says that when he goes down to Rape Alley, right?
Yes, down to Rape Alley.
the boiler room.
It looked like it with the green light in the corner and everything.
Yeah, she runs into the boy downstairs in this unknown section of the school because, of course, we need that. Yeah, we talked about it a few times as well. Especially, we have an episode coming up called "The Tale of the Dead Man's Float," and that involves around someone who finds a swimming pool randomly. However, we also have that in that terrible episode.
I think I remember that one.
Now.
Yeah, that's a good one. And I mentioned the podcast I guest started on for Saved by the Bell, where they find a fucking radio station out of nowhere. And like me and Ben went to a very small high school with 300-400 students, and we knew every single fucking place in that high school. There wasn't any like mystery, but it was always something I wanted to see. I wanted to find a special section of my high school that had never been explored before. Did you feel the same?
I did, and
Christ.
funny story, when I was in school in Dundalk at Patapsco, they had this thing, and I'm not one of the ones they got, but I remember hearing people say things about like a pool, and they used to apparently send people looking for this pool on the second floor, and it was
Second
only a
floor
one
pool?
story. Yeah, it was like literally, it was a big school, but it was 3 hallways. It was super simple, but there were some of the freshmen and everything that believed otherwise.
Kayla-
I constantly got lost in my school.
How many students were there again?
Yeah, what was your graduating class?
I started out freshman year with 410, and I graduated with 220.
No.
That's better.
Yeah.
Well, Ben has a better track record because I graduated with like 75, 79. Ben holds the record.
56.
Yeah. By the way,
And guess what? 55 walked.
Ben-
One got arrested.
yeah. And get this, Ben. I don't know if you've gone on Christopher High School's Wikipedia page, but your class was actually the lowest graduation rate.
Hell yeah.
Then one guy died. Oh, not
A
the
couple
guy.
of them have died.
Yeah, not
We
in
just
the
covered that.
cafeteria, but another guy died.
One guy died afterwards, stealing copper wire, and got electrocuted, and they had to identify him by his teeth.
Oh,
Um,
crackhead.
yeah, I mean, we had a lot of.
Crackheads?
Oh yeah.
I don't know if they were purveyors of crack, darling.
No,
but
around here it's usually heroin. You're right.
Oh, the empty thing is the big
I
thing
feel
right
better
now.
now.
Yep.
Yes.
We just had a pregnancy problem.
We had
Oh
that.
my God.
We had that too.
Right.
If
What
that-
small towns,
okay,
girl,
if we're counting
they get
that,
bored.
if we're counting heartbeats that walked across that stage,
It's a whole new number.
we're probably around 70.
She runs into the boy again in the alley. She drops the necklace in the locker, and then sees that, I call it the corny ghost with the glasses. You laughed when you watched this.
I did.
Yeah, she knows it's the bully. I think it was meant to be like that on purpose, though, right?
Yeah, I would hope.
Running upstairs, she gets out the necklace and sees Hippie Ghost again. Because again, we had ghost clowns in the Laughing in the Dark episode, so now it's Hippie Ghost.
Right.
And she doesn't talk. She just clenches on what looks like another necklace. She puts the puzzle together and then puts the necklace on. She's transported back into the 60s, and I have a lot to say about this scene here when she goes back in time to
Please do.
1968. Joy is transported back to 1968, and the kids walk around the school like all hippies. Now, I did some research here.
They didn't look like hippies. They looked like Halloween store
Yeah, I got
threw
you.
up. Like the real hippies
All right,
weren't
by the way,
spending money on.
I'm going to put this in show notes. I actually looked up what a high school looked like in 1968. Let me blow this up real quick. Here's what your class probably looked like.
Right.
What we noticed by this picture.
Normal.
Very normal.
There's not too many hippies.
I don't see headbands or flowers on cheeks
Yeah,
or
there's a lot of plain dress types. Ben, look at this.
Knocked over my mason jars just then.
Good thing we drank it all.
There's a few.
It's all empty.
Yeah, and I did look up the segregation rules in Canada.
Oh, I was about to look it up.
So speaking of which, in America, it happened with a rule in the 1950s. However, it took a while for people to catch on. And growing up this area, Ben, I remember.
So there were still 2 water fountains.
Kind of, but they got rid of that. However, I do remember being in school with some older African American teachers, and they did talk about when high schools were segregated, because Woodson, that we went to as a middle school, was the black high school in Crisfield.
Yeah.
And around 1967, 1968, where this happens, I think it was 1967, they were forced to have complete desegregation involved.
It's funny, actually. I grew up in Hartford, Alabama. It's a little bitty place. I only knew of the schools that I went to, but it turns out that there in the town somewhere, I've never seen it, but people I know have, there was another abandoned school. It was Hartford High, and that was actually from back when it was segregated like that, but I never had any idea.
Kayla, any segregation issues in Delaware, Sussex County?
Other than separating your clothes from whites and colors.
I don't do that anyway.
They're using a lot of 1960s slang here. Also, there's a poster in the school that says "Make love, not war," and that was popular in America.
Make peace, not war.
Yeah, make peace. It
They're
was
not promoting.
Make love.
Yeah, they couldn't put that on Nickelodeon in the 90s.
Yeah, that made things. However, I'm wondering, and by the way, the actor playing Chris is American. He's from Brooklyn. We have, though, an actress who's playing Julia. He's from Quebec in Canada. Is this high school in Canada or America? Because that makes a major difference in this time period.
That would make him
We're also keeping in mind this is taking place in 1968 when the Vietnam War is heavy involved. And what was Canada's involvement with the Vietnam War? I'm gonna put a link in the show notes to an article.
They didn't have any involvement, did they?
Yeah, they did send some troops over.
Oh, okay.
They weren't as heavy as America was. However, there were a lot of American draft dodgers who went to Canada, at least 30,000.
That's why I thought they weren't part of it.
Again, everybody needs to do their academic research in full and dissertation.
I just saw the episode 20 minutes ago.
Actually, I don't hear excuses.
Well, a little heads up. That's all I'm saying.
There's all white people walking around the school, though. It's all white hippies.
Yeah,
it was.
So they were still segregated.
She meets an attractive girl who calls her Candy. She goes back downstairs to the room, and it's in better condition. The locker has the candy sticker on it. And then she's called Miss Warren by a teacher who has some pretty fucking terrible props on him. Those sideburns and mustache were completely fake.
Oh, yeah, those chops were.
Yes, that's Mr.
bad.
Schaefer. Well, she takes off the jewelry and is transported back in the present time, and the indication of the flower is still in the locker. After the bubble tape commercial, you guys remember eating that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Christopher eats that.
Oh, they still make it?
Yeah, they still make it.
I've had it years. What about those that zebra gum?
That's still there too.
They still make fruit
Zebra
stripe.
Why do I
That
not
was
see?
my
Or
favorite.
fruit stripe.
Why do I not see this shit when I walk to like Royal Farms or Wawa? Again, we're in the Mid-Atlantic here.
Because you're at
That's
Royal
true.
Farms and Wawa, you need to go to like some rundown gas
Go
station
to like a
find
mom
this
and
shit.
pop place.
I'll buy you throwback candy.
or have,
Bring
okay,
them some Necco wafers.
how about Stuckey's in Eastern Virginia we walked into?
Oh my gosh.
That's the worst
I made
Stuckey's
Adam
ever.
Buy me a rabbit's foot. It's on my keys right now.
Ashley, what'd you say about Stuckey's?
That was the worst Stuckey's ever. The one right there over the Virginia line.
Yeah.
Hey.
It's the worst.
Hey,
There are some good Stuckey's out there, and that ain't one of them.
hey,
Again, Ashley's from the South.
baby,
I've never heard of it before.
baby, they still carry the gum cigars, so Stuckey's is okay in my
I don't
book.
care about the gum cigars. That's where I used to have to go to get my boiled peanuts before they were sold more regularly around
Boiled
here.
peanuts.
We see Kayla and I got some of those Asian shore peanuts, and we ate those constantly on Florida chip because we drove from Maryland to Florida.
Crab nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, we tore that up.
The canned boiled peanuts are no good for in the car. If you buy them from a place kind of fresh, you can do it, but canned, you can't do.
If anybody owns a peanut company out there, again, modulationstudios@gmail.com. We're looking for endorsements.
Peanut patch.
Joey says to Chris that they need to talk. Asks the reasons why.
Well, no, she said she's got to show him something.
Well, he goes into the reason why he had to tell someone. And he goes about the ghost rumors and stuff. That's when that happens.
Oh,
then she says she wants to show him something. She takes him down to the locker and shows an indication of the flower.
He's been waiting to see that forever.
Yeah.
It was her flower he was after, right?
Yeah.
Now, everything here looks old except for that necklace. He is getting spooky, but puts on the neck. She puts on the necklace and transports him back in time for. This is the biggest plot hole I saw this, by the way. How in the fuck does she take him back in time for?
Yeah,
Like, she made it a point to bump him, but no, I agree.
Yeah.
Like, but she definitely made a point to touch him to, I guess, suggest that was the...
How?
I thought she put her little arm in his.
Yeah, she like held.
I thought she pushed him.
She held his shoulder.
Yeah, I thought she kind of bumped him.
She held his shoulder, but then like when she took it off and she wasn't holding him,
He should have got left behind.
he should have got left behind. Absolutely.
I had in my show notes here. Lucky for him, schools have been desegregated. She sees the girl again who called her Candy and asks who Chris is, and she's kind of intrigued here.
She looked very intrigued.
Wow.
I guess
It didn't seem off-putting.
It was the dark.
Well, she's a hippie also. I mean, they're probably a little more liberal.
That's true.
Like,
Trying to piss off their parents.
That's
Yeah.
right.
yeah, and I did Google schools back in the 1960s. You do see a lot of racism and people picking out signs they don't want any black people in their schools and
That
stuff
girl
like that.
clearly did not feel
Yeah.
that way.
Well, she says she's inviting him over to a party. She just got the Beatles' White Album. That album, by the way, came out in November the 22nd that month in America, 1968.
And he seemed a little pissed off that it was the White Album.
I mean, he could have Rubber Soul or Help or Rubber Soul came before or after that.
Oh, I think it was a little before.
Yeah, that was and Revolver. That's another album. That was
Yes.
before. How many of you guys are Beatles fans, by the way? Kayla?
I can't.
A little
I'm wearing a
bit.
I
Beatles
can't claim
t-shirt
it.
right now.
I was just Beatles. By the way, that shirt is late 60s, early 70s Beatles because their hair.
Yeah.
It's not boy band Help Air or the Meet the Beatles.
Thank God.
Yeah. I do like their songs, and of course, me being
Yes.
a music professional and a songwriter, you have to study John
A level of appreciation.
John Lennon, Paul McCartney, all that good stuff.
Who Paul McCartney is actually a doppelganger.
Yeah, we talked about that in the Dimensions episode. I have Abby Red framed over there in Modulation Studios' office, and I saw Paul McCartney live at Firefly.
Supposed
years
Paul
ago.
McCartney.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Going back to the episode here, he mentions that Miss Warren has a chemistry experiment that needs to be done by 4 p.m. unless she wants to go to summer school.
I mean, given the circumstances that she's a ghost, I mean, is summer school that bad?
Did they make you do summer school back then?
I
Well,
had to, but it wasn't
Oh.
the 60s.
I did summer school a couple times.
In the 60s?
Not in the 60s. But I'll tell you, if you don't do the class, you are behind. So you'll be held back.
No electronics, Adam.
Holly,
I'm trying to take a photo for our Facebook page to promote that shit.
Oh.
Facebook.com/werenotafraidofthedark.
How are we going to do that? We're all spread out.
Yeah, I'll figure it out somehow. Let's get.
you got to have Kayla Hollywood it like this.
Where's your selfie
Yeah,
stick?
yeah. It's over there somewhere.
Here,
I actually
here.
get
Oh,
bro.
God,
Kayla,
you
take
had
this selfie real quick. I'll just keep talking. Of course, I don't like post shots, so everybody just keep acting
Okay.
natural here.
Oh yeah.
Say modulationstudios@gmail.com.
Yeah, of course. Chris and Joey talk about how strange things are. Mentioning how they're back in the 60s and how could that happen. She takes off the necklace, they're back in the present. They question, who is Candy? So, of course, this being...
Stripper.
Yeah. It's not like a stripper name. But it needs to be
It's like Misty.
Candi, right?
Yeah,
No.
Or
Candi.
two eyes.
Just like
No.
just like how me and Kayla went to that Third Eye Blind concert a few weeks ago.
Well, hold
I
on.
ran at a stripper at the merchandise booth.
Are we talking about the stripper's name being Candy with an I, or are we talking about this person's?
Oh, she's not. She has some career goals here.
This person's.
No, this person is a Y.
It was.
Yeah, this was why.
I wrote it down as an I.
You know, it's on your mind. All right, now this being a 1990s kids show, of course, to do research, where do they go?
The library.
Yeah, the libraries where you go information. They are looking. They're looking because they knew when the Beatles' White Album came out. Now, by the way, the actual name of that album is The Beatles. They call it the White Album for slang because that was the cover art and it's numbered. They find some old records for Candy Warren for locker number 22. In the yearbook, they can't find her name until they come across the page that says Candy Warren, 1951 to 1968. But they wonder, and I was wondering this also, why the hell is that girl called Joey Candy when they go back in the flashback?
Hold on. 51 to 68.
Yeah, she's 17.
It had to be something to do with the beads since they were in her locker and they were Candy's beads. When she put them on, she kind of stepped back into her, I guess, footprints. That's all I...
But
That's
how
what
do
I
you
thought.
explain how she knows Chris?
I can't. But the other girl, well, she didn't seem to be Candy when she was back there to anyone, like to her. Like other people
Yes.
saw her that way. So,
They wonder why Candy is showing herself to Joey and why they call herself Candy again. Back at the locker, Joey puts on the necklace by herself. Chris outside questions an older teacher and asks about Candy Warren. His name is Mr. Ratner.
Radigan.
figure he gives them all the information.
He says he hasn't thought of her in years, but she was a sweet girl and such a tragedy. Chris asks how she died. He says it was a horrible accident that happened there. And Joy's back in time again. She's called by the teacher because he apparently really wants her in that classroom to get this chemistry thing done.
Yeah, it was a chemistry accident when Fire Marshal Bill was doing a lecture
Okay,
on
you know-
fire safety.
Kayla's like, who is this?
Do you know who Fire Marshal Bill is?
We haven't done an in-lum color on the K&A.
Hold on. Should we
yeah.
pause it and show it to her?
Yes.
Should I show her the fire safety video?
Yeah. Go ahead and find one
All
real
right,
quick.
pause the episode.
We just paused the episode so Ben could show Kayla Fire Marshal Bill from In Living Color, and I'm surprised Kayla didn't know that was Jim Carrey.
I said it looks like
He said,
Jim
she said it
Carrey.
reminded her of him.
I'm
at
playing like
least.
that shit. That was one of the best Fire Marshal Bill sketches, by the way, when it's in the school, and the dude members in a chemistry lab. Plot twist is at the same high school.
Maybe it's on the other side of the wall. So
Hey, Ben, stay center on that mic.
you stay center on your mic.
I am.
Oh, okay.
I use a mic every fucking other week.
Just so
until
we're clear.
Professor
Told
PJ,
me.
motherfucker.
Now I have comebacks for him. Thank you.
Kayla's writing this shit down.
Back in the 1968 lab, they are doing an experiment, and it's obviously known that the hose on this is damaged. Joey asks what she's doing, and he says something about the compounds of chemicals. Hey, who here knows physics and chemistry, by the way? Anybody?
Crickets.
I need Jeopardy theme song.
I looked off the person next to me in school.
I don't know how we got through. Did Malaric teach? I was in his principal knowledge class, but he teach chemistry as well.
Look. Okay.
We keep referencing our high school science teacher. He was only 23 at the time, 24, I think.
Well, I'll tell you this much.
Ben's favorite.
He's on our Facebook.
I had him first in third period. Matt Malaric.
We need to have him guest star on this podcast.
Oh my god.
Apologize about the fish. baby.
Well, we'll get to the fish later.
Yeah.
But I would go to his first. I would skip after second, and I wouldn't show up for the third. He obviously knew I was there because I was in first period, but now I'm not in third. But I took marine bio with him and bio. But I mean, chemistry, I don't think I did chemistry with him.
I think mine was with Miss Hackett, who had been teaching for like 40 years at the time. She was on the verge of retirement.
She wasn't there when I came through.
Okay, yeah. Back in present time, Ratner says that it was Mr. Shatner who was the assistant vice principal when he's questioned who was the teacher at the time, and that's when Chris starts putting the puzzle together. Back in 1968, they're doing the experiment. Yes, the hose is damaged. Chris goes looking for Julie, but she's nowhere to be found. Julie starts following the directions given by her teacher. Chris tries getting into the locker, and again, needs help from that girl from Nightly Neighbors. Julie says she doesn't know how to do it. He says he's going to turn on the gas, like the burner, but from there on, she's on her own. He'll be back in 20 minutes. Chris then gets help from Candy Ghost.
Candy Ghost.
Yeah, she can't talk, and we kind of noticed this happening in these episodes. The ghosts can't talk. They couldn't talk in the Lonely Ghost episode. And Ashley, you remember watching that, right?
Yeah, I don't remember any that they talked in.
Hold on. What was the other ghost one?
Well, we have the
mirror,
the cold ghost one coming up.
No, there was another ghost one.
Look at this season one real quick. Okay. Phantom Cab, Laughing in the Dark, Lonely Ghost, Twisted Claw, Hungry Hounds. And that ghost there could talk, that guy in Hungry Hounds.
Well, Hungry Hounds could talk.
Yeah.
Phantom Cab could talk.
Super Specs is number 6. No ghost there.
No ghost there.
That's sci-fi.
Prom Queen could talk.
Yeah, she was a ghost. Serpent Sopranos, no ghost there.
The clown one was kind of a toss-up, whether that was a ghost or...
Yeah, ghost clown.
He could smoke, but he couldn't.
Yeah. And then Pinball was, of course, no ghost.
Right.
Dark Music, I wouldn't call that a ghost.
That's not a ghost.
So, yeah, it's more of a demon.
Right.
So, yeah, now we still have a ghost that can't talk. He asks if she's in the past, and she nods. Julie tries the lightning burner, but has issues and says she hates this stuff. Candy helps Chris get back in the past. Julie then strikes a match, but has problems. And, of course, on Are You Afraid of the Dark, their standard practice, you couldn't show someone striking a match or a cigarette lighter or anything because of standards of practices. They didn't want kids starting fires. Oh, by the way, Christopher Elementary School, which is since demolished, I do remember someone getting in trouble in 2nd grade for like having matches in the bathroom. They were like, oh shit, stuff's going down. Although there was an incident in my 6th grade class where someone did set a trash can on fire and we never saw that kid again.
Oh my.
Yeah, they were taken away.
Huh. We had a guy bring a shotgun to school and
Jeez.
I mean, he's on Facebook now. He did a couple of years away.
Christopher actually told me just yesterday or the day before that there was a kid in his class that they found with shotgun shells. Because I guess he had been telling his friends that he had a shotgun and they didn't believe him, so he brought in the shells to prove it.
What grade is Christopher in?
5th.
Yeah, when I was in, I want to say 6th or 7th grade, we had a kid bring a gun to school.
Were they arrested?
Uh-huh. Or like suspended.
Did they come back?
Weird.
Did they come back though?
Yes.
All right.
Dear God.
Since you can't light it, Julie comes back with a candle. Where the fuck did she get this candle at?
I don't know.
Chris pushes them off, stops the candle from going in. Shannon looks surprised, but then concerned. And then Chris goes off on this tangent here, saying that the hose was damaged. Why didn't the staff check that shit?
He was in the room by himself.
He literally-
You watched him plug the end in. I saw that the hose was damaged, and he was just off in his own world, ready to fail this girl for not showing up and dying.
I think this guy had anger management issues
He
based
was
on
a
his
dick.
stuff.
Oh my God. He was a fucking dick.
He was awful. He was. And you could kind of wonder if, like, oh, maybe it was, because of the things that happened in the past, but that was back then, and he was clearly already a wreck, so he must have had a sucky life, I guess.
Maybe he was Breaking Bad kind of professor back then.
Yeah,
Right.
Or teacher.
He had to be a little hardcore.
He does look concerned after the fact. He says, you could have been killed. And then goes on, and Chris is still pretty pissed off about it. And then the ghost, Candy, finally speaks up. She says,
I would have been toast.
yeah. Then the butterfly effect happens because we're transported back to real time at the school in the early 90s. And now, I don't know what happened to Shatner because he's no longer the assistant vice principal. It's now Candy Warren, who is the vice principal. She asks what they're doing down there and mentions that was her locker. However, here's the plot hole that I found. Why in the fuck, since this butterfly effect happened, is that section of the school still looks shit. There's the graffiti still all over the place.
Well, I mean,
Maybe
you
they
can't
weren't
stop
connected.
You can just have suspend your kids from breaking like speaking cans and stuff.
Still a rough
That's
part of
true.
town.
Keep an
Could be-
eye on shit.
Probably a Baltimore County.
But you can see
school.
how much they
Yeah.
cared by the state that hose was in. So
Yeah, that's just maybe it's
Side
low
question.
budget again.
For Adam, you said you've never seen the movie The Butterfly Effect.
I have.
You told me you hadn't.
No, I have.
You told me you hadn't.
Yeah, I
And I
watched
said,
it.
It's my favorite fucking movie.
Yeah,
you
that
have
go-
to watch it.
Yeah, no,
How is that your favorite movie?
Oh my god, are you serious?
Don't be
for one,
judgy.
that girl Brittany Snow is hot.
Brittany Snow?
That's her name, right?
that wasn't Brittany Snow. That
no.
was
I'm pretty sure it was.
I can't remember what that girl's name
Well-
is.
Allie. No.
Let's find
It's
out.
not Brittany Snow. Can we bet
No,
money?
it's yes. It's not Brittany Snow.
Who wants to bet
Adam,
my? We're
this
used
is
to
your
betting
$20.
money.
Her name's Amy something.
Amy, yes.
Oh,
it is Amy.
Amy Snow.
Amy Snow. No.
It's a 2004 flick. There's Butterfly 2. I haven't seen that one.
Smart. Amy Smart.
Amy Smart. Yes.
Yeah, it was. What's she doing nowadays?
Not a damn thing.
But I find out she
Hit
plays
her
like,
up.
I mean, she looks pretty hot, yeah. She was in a Rat Race, Just Friends, Mirrors, and Tyler Perry's The Singles Moms Club. We still, by the way, watch that Medea Bill. Is it Bill 2?
Yeah, it's still in theaters. We have to go.
Yeah, I need to see Tyler Perry's filmography
You
here.
said- you
Might
said-
start a podcast on Tyler Perry. We talked about how that's an Ernest podcast out there. Actually, it's
Is
going
there?
that. Yeah, Ernest has the podcast.
Oh Lord.
Amy Smart. Oh, dude, I could have told you that she posed nude.
Of course.
Well, yeah, she was trying to get a career going.
Dude, she was on fucking road trip. The first road trip.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could have told you that without looking at
wait,
Mr. Skin.
He's
What
getting
part-
ready to tell
what-
us like her
was she-
filmography
was she-
in every magazine.
Was she playing the part in Road Trip of the angry sorority girl?
No, she was the one that made this sex tape with him, and he mailed it off to
All right.
his girlfriend by accident.
Yeah, and the
We
funny thing-
talked about Road Trip in our last podcast.
Yeah, we had to mention that because the Bob Ross is in that movie with Andy Dick's character doing a drawing at the hotel. I laugh at this episode ending because Warren disciplines the boys for once,
Phone died.
and everything is good to go. The episode ends with the Menace Society using some 60s slang such as far out.
Groovy.
Yeah, and solid. I hear that kids use solid now. Again, Mez making a comeback.
Yes.
What is it?
Solid,
Solid.
Things
That's
are
always
solid.
been a thing, right?
Yes.
apparently.
Solid.
Final thoughts on this episode.
Oh my god, I freaking love this show. I want to watch it all the time.
Again, you and Ashley are going to host an episode of this in the future by yourself. Ashley, your thoughts?
Where did the girl in the beginning get the word kemosabe from? That doesn't. I didn't.
Yes,
that
and
didn't
suck-
ring
and
60s
suck it
to
to
me.
me.
Yeah.
Suck it
Oh,
to
that
me.
was it. That
Yes.
not kemosabe. It was suck it to me.
When did she say that?
We have
When
a,
she handed her the like little peace sign thing.
we have a restaurant in Rehoboth named Sakatumi, so I was like, I thought of that.
I want to
like,
go there for
huh.
sushi. Yes.
Yeah.
Again, we're very big
Then
into
take me.
Delmarva Peninsula geography here. Ben, final thoughts?
I mean, it's the same. It's the same thing for like most of the ones that we talk about. Is like, does the title of the story match? You know what it's about. Sure, she finds the necklace in locker 22, but
You have to use the mic for us to hold us.
but that's about it.
Go ahead, Ashley.
I feel like it was the most generic name they could have come up with for that episode. There's no debating that it didn't match up because it was so obscure.
The biggest plot hole I thought was, though, is how she gets Chris back in time with her and why they keep referencing her as Candy.
See how
And
we,
why
see
can't
how
it
we
be?
just pick it
See,
apart,
like,
Kayla?
what
Yeah.
if we
You see how we just pick it all apart? You say you love
Look
it,
for
and
all
we're
the
like,
problems.
you know what?
we need to see her through their eyes, not the camera's eyes.
There-
Right.
were-
I feel like that would
Yeah.
have made a difference.
Yeah.
There were
Because I
some.
thought they maybe saw her as Candy.
There were some other podcasts out there who said they didn't like this episode. I liked it. It wasn't scary,
It wasn't
but
bad.
yeah, I liked the plot of it at least.
Yeah.
It had an interesting plot.
Who doesn't love time travel?
People who hate Back to the Future.
Back to the Future.
The guy that plays in Quantum Leap.
Yeah.
Good point.
That's what we got to do. That's a show we got to throw on. It's Quantum Leap.
Have you seen Quantum Leap?
I used to watch that all the time when I
Is
was
that
little.
James Bond?
No,
No.
not at all.
What's that?
Scott
That's
Bakula.
Quantum of Solstice.
There we go. Yeah.
He had the little thing, and he could just leap from.
Well, Ben's going to do our sign off here.
Oh no, I don't feel comfortable with,
You don't have a
with
jingle?
that.
Well, Kayla will do it for us.
All right. Hey, everybody. Thank you for listening. This is We're Not Afraid of the Dark, starring Adam and Ben Durham, featuring Kayla Ruthven and Ashley
Harper.
today. Please email us at modulationstudios@gmail.com. Like us on Facebook. We're Not Afraid of the Dark. And did you make an Instagram account?
No, I didn't.
Get on the stick.
Adam.
Yeah, I'll get on that. I just hired my assistant, so yeah, we'll get on that. Update, we do now have an Instagram. It's instagram.com/we're not afraid of the dark. No apostrophe on that.
Feel the mess, Houdini when we leave you in your casket, that's tragic. Peep me and my genie flying past it. I'm Aladdin getting blasted, blasting this rap shit. Plaster blacking out, talking smack with savage crackers. I'd rather be a jackass than average, I guess. I'm just established at that practice, like a master, no less, the best.